Hi, everybody. It's Savannah Hill, and welcome to my professional e-portfolio for my MIT 885 course. I first just want to say that I really enjoyed this project, and I enjoyed being able to create a portfolio through a website in order to show some of our creativity and being able to really highlight and focus on the things that we are most proud of or enjoyed most about this process. The first thing I actually want to talk about is this candidate info tab. This was one of the tabs that I really actually loved, enjoyed, and was so excited to actually complete. I like that I was able to kind of introduce myself and tell others about myself outside of who I am as a professional, as an educator as well. So the part down here where we actually got to set some goals, both professionally and personally, was one of my favorite things on this tab. I really liked that I was able to think about goals, both professionally and personally, and write them down so it kind of had some accountability and that so I can know what I wanted to strive for in the future. Another part of this candidate info tab that I really enjoyed doing was the part where we could talk about where we see ourselves in 5 or 10 years. I really loved that this was able to kind of see ourselves as a whole in the future. And I really push growth mindset with my students every day in my classroom. So for me to be able to kind of look inside myself and have a growth mindset and look at where I want to be in 2, 5, and 10 years and how I want to continue to grow and learn and change was really great. And I actually took this of where I see myself and kind of tweaked it to use to my classroom as a student activity. I had them say where they saw themselves in a month, at the end of the year, and at the beginning of next new school year. So I thought that this was a really great way to get my mind right for being able to set goals and having a growth mindset. Another thing that I actually want to talk about is this activity evidence tab. While I liked all of the parts of this tab, I enjoyed these professional training, both the videos and the presentations. This was a really great way for me to see myself as more of a leader and a coach at my school. I am one of the newer teachers at my school. We have teachers who have been there and teaching for upwards of 30 years. So sometimes I definitely feel kind of like a small fish in the big pond of my school, and like I can't necessarily be a leader or a coach because there's so many other teachers who are at my school that might be more experienced or know more than I do. But being able to create the presentations and then turn around and actually teach them and record myself teaching them has really helped to boost my confidence as being a leader or a coach in my school, and being open to being available for other teachers to come to me with questions. Both of my staff training videos revolved around Google Classroom, which is something that we're really focusing on using in our district due to virtual learning or hybrid learning. And then also my presentation for my students was being able to help them understand how to use an app called My Locker, which hosts all of the apps we use on a daily basis and creates like a single sign-on service. So it saves us a lot of time and a lot of effort, especially teaching second grade, beginning of the year. Students have a really hard time remembering usernames and passwords and how to get to the websites for so many different platforms or apps that we use in the class. So this was something that I was able to teach my students, and I did actually share it with other staff members at my school, and they also shared it with their students. So along with those, just being able to use these presentations I created to help me guide my trainings that I did with either staff or students was also great. And I love that I was kind of able to put my own touch on these trainings and create something that I thought staff would be really able to follow easily. And that made a lot of sense. And even if there were questions, being available and open to them asking for further help. However, my absolute favorite part of this whole portfolio that also falls in the activity evidence tab is this extra resource part. I am definitely the most proud of this section of my e-portfolio. I feel like this was able to show myself as both an educator and a creator and really highlight what I am good at and my strengths, and as far as it comes to planning and creating and things like that. And it was great to be able to actually look back at everything that I had done and created my entire MIT program and the assignments that I was able to create and accomplish and feel proud of. I love that I was able to get different types of activities on this extra resource page. So I have things like videos, I have a Google Slides presentation, an online syllabus, which was actually great to have because I ended up actually using it this year for going hybrid learning. So that was a lifesaver. I didn't have to recreate something. I have just like a regular paper that I created and some questionnaires. The activity that I posted on this extra resource that is my favorite is actually this Cinderella versions Google Slides presentation. So I created this to compare different versions of the same story. And I was able to create links in here that are hyperlinks that students can click on, and it takes them exactly where they need to go. And this is just something that I'm really proud of because it took a lot of work and I love the end result. And being able to take it to my classroom and having my students actually do the assignment, and they loved it. So I knew for sure that was definitely one thing I had to put on this extra resource page. The next part of this e-portfolio that I want to talk about in the evaluation is the peer review. I, coming in, was a little bit worried about peer reviews. I wasn't quite sure about being able to give others good, constructive feedback that they could actually take and change and improve on their own. But the more I did it, the easier it was. And I actually really enjoyed getting the feedback from peers, both in this class and a peer that I actually work with. It was great being able to see outside opinions and ideas of how I needed to fix and adjust. So this was definitely so helpful. And peer reviews is actually also something that I want to be able to take into my classroom in the future as well. The last part that I actually want to talk about for my portfolio is the reflection. So this part for this whole reflection, I definitely was surprised about how good it felt to be able to reflect on my MIT program as a whole rather than as just looking at a reflection from class to class. I feel like I was really able to dig deep into what I was able to learn and take back to my students and staff and even myself as an educator. And also going back to not really necessarily feeling like a leader all the time, reflecting on my program as a whole and how much I've accomplished and finished, and actually how proud I am of my assignments has really helped to boost my confidence even more in knowing that I can be a good leader and a good coach and somebody that my staff members can turn to at school. So that's all I wanted to touch on and highlight for my e-portfolio. But thank you so much, everybody. It was such a pleasure to work through this whole program with you, and best of luck to you all in the future. All right, bye.